Hey everyone, Serge LeBlanc here. I wanted to go over an example of a pivot table, the material that we covered in lesson 3. I see from the exit tickets that some of you still had some questions on how to set up pivot tables. So I thought I'd walk you through an example of something we went through in class, but try to provide a little bit more details and context into why we're pulling certain fields into the rows or columns section of the pivot table. So let's go ahead and walk through an example here where we have a question that we want to find out what is the average price per color and cut for the top 3 best clarities. So looking at our diamond data set here, we have the cuts here, the color and clarity. So we're going to be manipulating these 3 things and talking about the average price for diamonds with these characteristics. So let's start off as usual by creating our pivot table. Insert pivot table. We have the data that is selected by default, and then by default it's asking us to put this data in a new worksheet, which we're going to go ahead and do. Okay, so now the question we're interested in is average price, and we want to filter by cut, color, and clarity. We want to aggregate by these things. So let's start selecting them. Let's start with cut and color, and then we're interested in price. Okay. So when we select these fields, initially what happens is cut gets placed into the rows of our pivot table right here. And then we see that in values, we have count of color and sum of price that gets added here. Now, because we're interested in the average of price or in price as the metric that we want to measure, I want to aggregate by, we have to remove color from here. Let's go ahead and move it to rows first and see what happens. Okay. So now what we're having here is because we have cut and color in the rows, what we're getting aggregations by both. So we're getting for this cut here, for the fair cut, and for every color, what is the sum of the price of the diamonds in our data set. And we mentioned that it's actually average that we're interested in. So by clicking here, we can go ahead, instead of sum, we can choose average. Clicking OK, it gives us an average of the price instead of the sum of the price, right? So it just makes more sense in this example. And to take it even a little bit further, we can go and click on number here and actually get some formatting, make it a little bit nice and cleaner. So if we click on currency, that should provide us with a nice format for pricing. There we go, boom, so we can see, okay. So what this table is showing us is it's saying, okay, for the cut that's labeled as fair and for the color D, the average price of the diamonds in our data set is $4,291.06, right? Which is, it's answering the question. And actually there was another criteria in there. They was only interested into the top 3 clarities. So if we click on clarity, and again, this will pop up in the values, but that's not where we want to put it. What we want to do is eliminate the clarities that everything except the top 3. So if I drag this clarity into the filters, you'll see that everything that's in the filters box here, it shows up on top here. So now I can go ahead and say, okay, so these statistics in the pivot table are for all of these clarities. So if I only want the top 3, I can unselect them, so we can see everything disappears, and then go ahead and pick just the top 3, which is IF, VS1, actually it's VVS1, and VVS2. All right? So by doing that, we get the average price for the fair diamonds, color D, is $33.82. All right. Now, another question was asked, was like, well, how do you know what to put in rows and columns? And my answer was, well, you just have to play around with it and see what happens. What I mean by that is, let's see what happens, right? So if I take color here and I put it in columns, what does it change? Well, you can see that the table now kind of like went from horizontal, more of a vertical table to more of a horizontal table, right? But did the values change? So here we're looking at the cut that is fair for color D. The average price is $33.82.73. What happens when I move the color back to rows? I get the same price. So what's happening here is this table is actually the same, it's just it's displayed differently. So it's probably more convenient to show data in this way, right? It's much easier to read. but data is actually the same. So the difference between rows and columns is just how you want to display your data. So I hope this helps clarify a few things. If you still have any questions, please let me know. We can discuss them in class. Thanks.